Hello again and welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a long time since I've done one of these, but I've been really busy trying to get projects done. So, please forgive me a little bit. Just to let everybody know out there, I am going to be uploading a few extras in a little bit. Reason why is because, one, I'm trying to catch up, and two, well, a lot of things happen that goes through my mind. I'm like, you know what? I need to talk about this. So first things first, let me go ahead and give a shout out to the Breakout Banshees. I really would need to give them a big old shout out because these guys helped me in two ways. Number one, they helped me with this Derevi Deck. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys this video that they helped me do. It was awesome. I'm so grateful for them for doing it. They're trying to help me go to the next level of this. But due to scheduling issues, you'll probably still see more of this. Hopefully you'll see more of what's going to happen here. But if not, that's okay. Because after all, they have a life, I got a life. We just got to work out something somehow, which is great. I love these guys. They were so awesome to help me out because they helped me with my Derevi Deck. And in case any of y'all might have seen it, they also helped me with the Witch's Forest. It was a little story that I wrote myself. Basically, it's a rough draft for what I really want to do. So what you see now looks okay. It could be a lot better, and I plan to make it even more than a lot better. So hopefully, with their help again, I can get it there. If not, we'll just see what happens. But nevertheless, these guys did come and help me with the Witch's Forest. So here they are. This is the Derevi Deck. Hope you guys enjoy. And I got this nice little thing in the background. Let's have an explosion. So going from there, we're all wizards here. We're all planeswalkers. So let's go ahead and get right into it. We're going to talk about this little Derevi deck that I created. Now, of course, everybody knows Derevi by now. She's a flying commander. The nice thing about her is that she can be used to tap anything when she comes into play, or whenever a creature you control deals combat damage. Nice, but the biggest thing that everybody likes about her is that if she ever goes back to command zone, you don't have to pay the tax with her. You can just use that second ability. Really awesome ability. However, I don't use her primarily for her ability. And I will explain why with this little video. Because this particular deck, I try to do more than one type of strategy to make things really run. So first things first, I do have my lands. It's going to be, of course, just like Derevi, it's going to be plains, islands, and forests. Go from there. Let's go right into the non-basics. So what we have right here are going to be lands that a lot of y'all are going to recognize. Yes, these are cycle lands. Some of them are from older sets, the others are from Amonkhet. I highly recommend getting the Amonkhet because guess what? Thanks to Amonkhet, we got ourselves dual lands that are cheap. They're going for $1 and less, with the exception of course, the red and blue one, but we're not worrying about that one today. So we're going to use the cycle lands because of the fact of a certain strategy I have in here. So aside from the cycle lands, I also have a few non-basic lands in here, like the check land. I also have a Celestia's Sanctuary, which is a really good balance land. I recommend only running that one because it can slow you down a little bit. And then of course I have the search lands, which are really good, a little expensive, but if you can get a hold of them, I recommend using them. And then of course I have the Seaside Citadel. Really good card. I suggest just running one of those because it comes into play tapped. It can slow you down a little bit. This card right here is one of my Pride and Joy cards. It's called the Lotus Veil. Really awesome card. Very few people run it, mainly because when it comes into play, you gotta sack 2 untapped lands. But it comes into play untapped, and it's basically a Lotus land. Really good. It helps you get that nice little mana ramp that you need. Now going on from there, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you I got only 2 planeswalkers in here. One is Tamiyo, Field Researcher, and the other is Garuk, the Wild Speaker. Reason why is because of what their 2 abilities can really amount to. When I built this deck, I thought about it. I really want this deck to be one of those where you pay nothing to play whatever you want. So I do have Tamiyo for her ultimate ability, so that when it triggers, not only do you get the draw power, you also get to play whatever you want without paying any kind of mana cost. Really awesome ability. Her other 2 abilities are awesome, but I try to get that #1 ability to go off. With Garuk the Wild Speaker, He has really good abilities as well, but he's primarily in here just so I can untap lands. I can untap lands, I can keep using resources, and that's the biggest plus to Garou. Alright, we're going to go ahead and go right into the spells and enchantments. And of course, like in my last video that I explained, I always look at spells as things that are not creature based, or artifacts for that matter. Okay, so for the spells, go ahead and start off with Approach of the Second Sun. Really good card. It speaks for itself. You know, as soon as you play it, put 7th from the top, and if you play it a second time, you automatically win the game. Let's go ahead and talk about the Mana Rock. In this one, I went ahead and just started using more Lotus. I got the Lotus Bloom, Gilded Lotus, Soul Ring, of course, because it is a staple card, and then I also got the Worn Power Stone, basically another Soul Ring, really good for getting all that mana that you need. Searchability, you need searchability in this deck, so I got myself the Tutors. I got the Enlightened, the Worldly, and the Mystical Tutor. And of course, I also have Fabricate. So, of course, everybody already knows what some of these cards do. You got the Mystical, which lets you search for instant sorceries. You got Enlightened, lets you search for an artifact or an enchantment. And then, of course, Worldly, search for a creature. Fabricate, search for an artifact. Reveal it, put it in your hand. Really good card. Really good enchantments that I love to use are ones that keep coming back. And those enchantments, I am running the Dragon Scales, Fangs, and Wings. The Wings because you can cycle them, toss them freehand, draw a card. The +1/+1 trample, +1/+2 vigilance, really good, helps out a lot. Then you have some really good standalone cards that I do play in here, like Imprison in the Second Sun. Someone plays a card you do not want them to fully utilize. So what you're going to do is, play this and literally put them into the moon. Once they are exiled, they're turned into a land, which is just it produces a colorless, really good, very helpful. Gotta have some draw power in here. I run Divination, really good, just play for 3, and it gives you 2 cards. Open the vault. I use it because you never know when something's going to happen. You're going to lose all your creatures, enchantments, your artifacts. Open the vault says return all your artifacts and enchantments from the graveyard and bring back into play. So it's going to help you out right there. Then you have Cackling Counterpart, another standalone, really good. Let's say you got yourself a really big Colossus on the field. Just go ahead and make a second one. It's a token, but you still got 2 of the same one creature. Just make sure it's not legend. Then you're going to have Omniscience. That is my favorite standalone. Was not easy to get a hold of, but it was worth it when I got a hold of it. As soon as you play it, anything in your hand can be casted for free. You don't have to pay any more mana cost. Here's another draw power. It's going to be Font of Fortunes. Tap 2 to play, and then tap 2 to activate its ability. You sack it, draw 2 more cards. Washout, really good for getting rid of all the creatures that you don't control. However, to do that, you got to choose a color. So you want to try and avoid using any creatures that you control that have a color that you want to get rid of. Bounces all those creatures to their owner's hands. Coach the Blind Eternals, really good. Lets you get any Eldrazi that you need from anywhere. It can be exiled. It can be in your best friend's mill deck from some other box somewhere else. It lets you get that one creature, put it in your hand, and then you can play it whenever you need it. Then we got Replenish. It's another card that lets you bring back your enchantments from the graveyard, and it only does enchantments, which is good. Not, you don't get your artifacts back, but that's okay. I don't run too many artifact creatures. Then we have the Sterling Grove. Cost 2. When it comes into play, all your enchantments basically have Shroud, and then if you don't need it for the Shroud ability, you can use it to sack it and look for an enchantment in your deck and put it in your hand. Kodama Reach, you're going to need that so you can ramp up your land search. You're going to need your lands. Beacon of Tomorrow, so you can take that extra turn. Faith Betters, good standalone card. What it does is it takes one permanent that isn't a land and takes away all its abilities, so that whatever it is, it will not affect you. I highly recommend running cards like these, like Dispersal Shield and Russian Knowledge. What these cards do, they're from Scourge, and they rely on the highest converted mana cost of cards that you control on your side of the field. So pretty much, let's say you've got Omniscience on the field, and you play Rush of Knowledge. Now you get to draw 10 cards free. Same thing if you need a really good counter spell, Dispersal Shield. If you have anything that's between 3 or higher, as long as whatever you're countering is that or lower, you will counter it. It's a really good counter spell. Love it. I recommend using any kind of equal to convert mana cost cards in any kind of commander deck, due to the fact that in Commander we all get to play really big casting cost creatures and artifacts. So I highly recommend starting to run those. Curse of Exhaustion, you end up slowing your opponents down by forcing them to only play one spell per turn. Step it in, a little expensive, but it lets you draw an additional card every upkeep, and you get to tap in and deal 1 damage to a target player. Dust to Dawn, a really good removal spell, allows you to tap 4, destroy anything with power 3 or greater, and if you want to use the Dawn ability, then you get to return all the creatures you control in the graveyard that are power 2 or less to your hand. Then you have Mystic Restraints, basically same thing as Faith Betters. Comes into play, you're going to slow a creature down, or a Planeswalker, depends on what you have to deal with. And then these two I want to talk about real quick. They are part of an infinite combo that goes with one of my creatures. Basically, you're going to use these to get off an instant win. You need these in combination with Dross Scorpion. What happens is, with the power of Dross Scorpion, you're going to end up milling your opponent into nothing. Now, you can use an additional card called Blasting Station, where it does the same thing as Grinding Station. Whenever you can tap in second artifact, and what Blasting Station does is it lets you deal 1 damage to a creature or a player, and you may untap it whenever an artifact comes back into play. So because of Mirror Turbine, you can create 1/1 mirror tokens every time, and they're artifact creatures. Come into play, tap, sack the artifact. Whenever an artifact creature or a Dross Scorpion goes to graveyard, untap target artifact. So you're going to untap the Mirror Turbine, tap it again, creature goes into play, untap this, tap, sack it, and it just goes over and over until your opponent has nothing left to work with. Okay, now going into the creatures, here are my little mana dorks. I really like using Utopia Tree a lot. If I had more Birds of Paradise, I'd run them, but I really prefer the Utopia Tree as the first one I ever pulled. Weaver of Currents and the Naga Vizier, because I like the way they look the most, and it came from one of my favorite sets. Both of them really good mana dorks. One gives you 2 colorless, and the other one lets you tap 1 mana of any color that your opponent could produce. Now we got the creature accelerants. We got Eldritch Piper. Tap a green, tap him, get to drop a creature. Champion of Ronas. Attack with him. When he attacks, exert him. When you do, drop a creature. These guys help to play that ability where I get to play anything for free. I love that ability, and I try to pull that off with this particular deck. Fate Spinner, really good standalone. Really, reason why is because as she's on the field, your opponents all have to choose whether they want to skip their draw step, their main phase, or their battle phase. They can really slow things down for them a lot. Then I have a nice little search called the Tinker Mage. 2 for 3. Comes into play, search for an artifact in your deck with convert mana cost 1 or less. Really helpful. Here's a good wall. It's called Wall of Denial. It's in 0/8 for 3, Defender, Flying, and it has Shroud. It's a really awesome wall, and it helps to protect you from just about anything. Really helpful, very awesome. Alright, and then here's another really good creature you do want to run. It's the Trigon Predator. What it does is it's a 2/3 for 3 flying. When it deals combat damage to a player, destroy an artifact or an enchantment. Because of how Commander runs, you want to start nuking everybody's artifacts, from their Lightning Greaves to their swords, even to their own Soul Rings. Now we got the Merfolk Looter, and she's not the only one I got in here who does the exact same thing. Merfolk Looter and the Thought Courier. You tap them both, draw a card, and discard a card. Helpful, go ahead and let's say you draw the Omniscience a little too soon. What you're going to do is you're going to use that ability, toss it to graveyard, because hey, you can't tap 10 on turn 3. So you're going to use that, send it to a graveyard, then later use replenish or something similar. All right. Let's see. We also have some really good creatures in here to help out. For example, the reason why I'm running the Psycho Lance is because of my Ramanap Excavator. Ramanap Excavator, really awesome creature. You may play lands from your graveyard. So thanks to those Psycho Lands, you get the draw power, and if you need to play a land that turn and you don't have any, just go ahead and get it from the graveyard and put it into play. Also, when you have the fetch lands, you can keep bringing them back. Tap them, sack them, get a land from the deck. Just keep using his ability. Awesome, a lot of fun. Here's a creature, she goes hand in hand with my Garuk. She's called the Crow's Restorer. She's a 1/2 for 3. She has Threshold, where once you have 7 or more cards in your graveyard, you can tap her and you get to untap 3 lands that you control. Really can help speed up what you need to pay for. And then of course, here's some really awesome big creatures that I am running in this deck, which is the Darksteel Colossus. Really awesome. You gotta use the Aegis Angel. She's going to help make something indestructible along, just like the Darksteel Colossus. We have the Simic Sky Swallower, flying, trample, and it has Shroud, and it's a 6/6. You know, you can't argue that. The Cunning Breeze Dancer, really awesome dragon. I love it to death. It's a 4/4 for 6. When it first came out, the ability Prowess did not exist, but it basically has Prowess 2. Anytime you play a non-creature spell, it gets +2/+2, and it's a flyer, so it hits really hard. We also have the Stoic Angel, really good for slowing down your opponents. Now, of course, it can slow you down a bit, so be careful. She's a 3/4 for 4, flying vigilance. Players can't untap more than 1 creature during their untap steps. Now, of course, I have Seaborn Muse in here to kind of counterbalance that ability. Seaborn Muse is good for any deck that runs green. Anytime somebody untaps, you get to untap as well. So during every untap step, you get to untap. It's very helpful, speeds things up even more. And then we have Dragon Lord Dramoka. She is an amazing dragon. Thanks to her, during your turn, your opponent cannot cast any spells. So it will help slow your opponent down even more. Really good for that defense. Blazing Archon. He's a really awesome creature. Flying creatures cannot attack you. Expensive, but then again, the whole point is to get them on the field without having to pay the cost. Really awesome creature. We also have the Looter Scooter, or as it's more well known as, the Smuggler's Copter. Really awesome card, helps you to get more draw power. We also have the Plated Slagworm, one of my favorite creatures. 8/8. It's an 8/8 with Shroud. Really awesome, very strong creature. And also, with a few adjustments I do plan to make to this deck, I have the Thunderfoot Balleth. Now, I do have 2 other creatures that I want to put in here, but due to the 99 count card, I can't use them. They're the Angelic Marshal and the Storm Surge Kraken. All 3 of these creatures have Lieutenant, which means that as long as you control your commander, they get additional ability. And what's nice is these lieutenant abilities are widespread for the most part. With the Thunderhoof Balleth, what he does is he's a 5/5, but he's got trample. Once your commander's on the play, he becomes a 7/7 and gives all your creatures trample. The Angelic Marshal, she gets +2/+2, she becomes a 6/6, she's got flying, vigilance, and she gives all your creatures vigilance. And then the Storm Surge Kraken, what he does is he gives 2/2 and he gives all your creatures a really nasty ability, which I honestly think everybody should really consider running lieutenants, especially if you're going to run Derevi. Because Derevi, if she keeps going back to command zone, that's fine. Just pay that second ability of hers, tap 4, bring her back, instead of having to pay like 8 or 10 to bring her back. Well, that's Derevi for you. That's what I got. Like I said, I do plan to make a few changes to it. I hope you guys like it. You know, give us a shout out, write down in the comments, and again, I want to thank my friends for helping me out with this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and remember, try to keep it as cheap as possible.